What's new in science fiction? Well, here are 6 books that are coming out in November. Do you love science fiction? Well, if you love science fiction like I do, then there are a lot of books that you can look forward to. Now, some of these books are not by very well-known authors, but there is one that is a big author. So let's find out what I find interesting about the releases for this month. Coming on November 7th is The Wrong Stars by Tim Pratt. This is what it says. A ragtag crew of humans and post-humans discover alien technology that could change the fate of humanity, or awaken an ancient evil and destroy all life in the galaxy. The shady crew of the White Raven run freight and salvage at the fringes of our solar system. They discover the wreck of a centuries-old exploration vessel floating light years away from its intended destination and revive its sole occupant, who wakes with news of first alien contact. When the crew break it to her that humanity has alien allies already, she reveals that these are very different extraterrestrials, and the gifts they bestowed on her could kill all humanity, or take it out to the most distant stars. Now, this seems pretty interesting, and I am really looking forward to checking out this book. Although I'm not familiar with the author, the description of this book makes it sound very interesting. Also released on November 7th is Valiant Dust by Richard Baker. It's the first in the Breaker of Empires series, and here is what it has to say. Horatio Hornblower and Honor Harrington fans will find a new hero in Sikander North, first in a new military SF series with elements of colonial diplomacy and explosive action. In a new military SF series, Richard Baker begins the adventure of Sikander North in an era of great interstellar colonial powers. Sikander Singh North has always had it easy until he joined the crew of the Aquilan Commonwealth starship CSS Hector. As the ship's new gunnery officer and only Kashmiri, he must constantly prove himself better than his Aquilan crewmates, even if he has to use his fists. When the Hector is called to help with a planetary uprising, he'll have to earn his unit's respect, find who's arming the rebels, and deal with the headstrong daughter of the colonial ruler, all while dodging bullets. Sikander's military career is off to an explosive start, but only if he and CSS Hector can survive his first mission. Now, it sounds pretty interesting. I haven't read that much military sci-fi, but I am interested in seeing what it's like. Considering that there are a lot of colonial powers in this, I like the colonial type of story, establishing new colonies, or there's existing colonies and a lot of different cultures may develop. So this seems very interesting to me. Next up, released on November 14th, is Beyond the Empire by K.B. Wagers. It's the third and final book in the Indranan War trilogy. So let's find out what this one's about. The adrenaline-fueled explosive conclusion to the Indranan War trilogy by K.B. Wagers. Gunrunner turned Empress Hale Bristol was dragged back to her home planet to take her rightful place in the palace. Her sisters and parents have been murdered, and the Indranan Empire is reeling from both treasonous plots and foreign invasion. Now on the run from enemies on all fronts, Hale prepares to fight a full-scale war for her throne and her people, even as she struggles with the immense weight of the legacy thrust upon her. With the aid of a motley crew of allies old and new, she must return home to face off with the same powerful enemies who killed her family and aim to destroy everything and everyone she loves. Untangling a legacy of lies and restoring peace to Indrana will require an empress's wrath and a gunrunner's justice. So, someone who's, she's a gunrunner. She is being thrust into her role as an empress. So this seems like a very interesting story. It is the third book, so I would have to read the first 2, of course. But I do look forward to seeing what this one's about. Also released on November 14th is probably the biggest one of the month. This one is by Andy Weir. I read The Martian and absolutely loved the book, so I'm really looking forward to seeing what this one's about. This time we're not on Mars. This has to do with the moon. So the book is Artemis by Andy Weir. So let's take a look at what this book is about. Jaz Bashara is a criminal. Well, sort of. Life on Artemis, the first and only city on the moon, is tough if you're not a rich tourist or an eccentric billionaire. So smuggling in the occasional harmless bit of contraband barely counts, right? Not when you've got debts to pay and your job as a porter barely covers the rent. Everything changes when Jazz sees the chance to commit the perfect crime, with a reward too lucrative to turn down. But pulling off the impossible is just the start of her problems, as she learns that she's stepped square into a conspiracy for control of Artemis itself, and that now her only chance at survival lies in a gambit even riskier than the first. Now, this doesn't seem to be strictly sci-fi. It's also a bit of crime, and it seems more character-driven, I would think. So this sounds pretty interesting. I'm interested in seeing what it will be like, but will it live up to The Martian? That remains to be seen. November 21st sees the release of The Man in the Tree by Sage Walker. Now let's find out what this one's about. Humanity's last hope of survival lies in space, but will a random death doom the venture? Our planet is dying, and the world's remaining nations have pooled their resources to build a seed ship that will carry colonists on a multi-generational journey to a distant planet. Everything is set for a bright adventure, and then someone is found hanging dead just weeks before the launch. Fear and paranoia spread as the death begins to look more and more like a murder. The authorities want the case settled quickly and quietly so as not to cause panic and to prevent a murderer from sabotaging the entire mission. With The Man in the Tree, Locus award-winning author Sage Walker has given us a thrilling hard science fiction mystery that explores the intersection of law, justice, and human nature. So, I don't really know much about Sage Walker, but knowing that this author is a Locus Award winner, sounds pretty good. But this kind of story, I'm actually writing something right now that has to do with sending a ship to colonize another world. And this is the basis of this one, although this has everything to do with a murder. So it's more of a murder mystery than science fiction, but it is about trying to solve this mystery before they go up into space. So I am pretty interested in this. I do like some mysteries, so I'll be looking forward to reading this. And finally, released on November 28th is Shadow Sun 7 by Spencer Ellsworth. It's the second in the Starfire trilogy. And here's what the book has to say. Shadow Sun 7 continues Spencer Ellsworth's Starfire trilogy, an action-packed space opera in which the oppressed half-Jorian crosses have risen up to supplant humanity. Jackie, Araskar, and Zed are on the run from everyone, the Resistance, the remnants of the Empire, the cyborg suits, and right now from the Matakas. And the Matakas are the most pressing concern because the insectoid aliens have the drop on them. The Resistance has a big reward out for Araskar and the human children he and Jackie are protecting. But Araskar has something to offer the mercenary aliens. He knows how to get a huge supply of pure oxygen cells, something in short supply in the formerly human empire, and that might be enough to buy their freedom. Araskar knows where it is, and Jackie can take them there. With the Matakas as troops, they break into Shadow Sun 7 on the edge of the Dark Zone. So I guess we need a bit of background here. Need to read the first book, of course. But this book is kind of, dystopian in space. Humanity is in ruins and so on. So these people need to protect human children and try to gain their freedom. So this will be an interesting one to read. Need to read the first book, of course. Which of these books are you interested in? Let me know in the comments section down below. And also, if there are any other science fiction releases that you're interested in, let me know which ones. I would love to know. If you haven't watched my fantasy video on this same subject, so November releases for fantasy, then check out the video right up here in the card. Coming soon, I'll be doing my most anticipated releases for both fantasy and science fiction in 2018. So look forward to that one. It'll be a big one. If you like this video, then please give it a big thumbs up. And if you want to join in on the discussion about fantasy and science fiction, then please subscribe down below and check out those videos over there. You might find something you like. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.